Hello my friends, and welcome to my July-August Is Your Ex Coming Back. Just before I start, I want to let you know there is like still a speed up special. So if you order something, it's not going to last 3 weeks as a regular reading. You're going to get it within a week. Also, if you order rush, you're going to get it within 3 days, not a week, and urgent readings 24 hours. So some of you are really familiar with this reading. These cards here are taken from a different deck, and they're called significators. Significator means, hey, I really want to describe something that is happening over here, but this is not a card that I read. So yes, this front row is going to be identical in all the readings because of that. If you did see this explanation, just jump to the reading. But if you haven't, please listen to it, because it's actually really important and it's a part of the reading. So this very first card, the Magician, I picked because it's a number 1. I really want to see how to move forward in this category. As above, so below. What can be the best that can come out of this relationship? What are the tools that they're given? You know, not everybody is given like sort of like, you know, full house. Some of us really have to deal with what basically we are kind of like handed. So this is going to tell me if this is even a starter, this relationship. Temperance here is purposely reversed because in the upright position, Temperance talks, hey, can I mix these two opposites? So let's say one is really good, one is really bad. Is there a point of making this in the middle if it's not? Generally, really, I want to see which things are pulling this relationship apart. What cannot be glued? What has to be glued in order to move forward? Then Queen of Wands is going to be one significator. It could be you. It doesn't matter if it's a male or female, even though I'm using wands all the time. And not everybody is a fire sign, which usually wands are used for. And the reason why I'm doing this is like when we date, we kind of are very action oriented. We kind of like do for a moment, step in this fire and acting like that. And then we sort of like settle in our own sign. This is going to give me communication between the two of you. What's going on? How is it projected? What could or won't happen? And now the two really important cards would be Judgment, which is one of my chosen karma cards. And I want to see in this category, was this a karmic mate? Was this a karmic soulmate? Because then I would advise you, look, get a karmic reading too, because this is actually part of you and your path. You wanted this person to come here. Usually karmic soulmate or twin flame is like, ouch, relationship, right? And here we're going to see, where is this going? Is this going a step further, or is it not going a step further? So hopefully this was like not too much of introduction, and let's start. Hi Pisces, and welcome to your Is Your Ex Coming Back. This is going to cover July and August. So let's start. This is a general reading. The message can be like straight going at you, for you, but it might be for somebody else. So don't kind of like obsess. And that's why it's always best to check your ascendant and check your moon sign at the very least. Also, if you're cross-watching, check their Mars sign on top of that. So let's start, guys. And of course, getting a private reading is the best. So let's see what you have over here. The Devil. Whoa. Oh my gosh. What the heck is this? Pisces. There you are. Sweet Pisces, offering love. It almost looks like that there was a point where you were completely clueless about this relationship, and you sort of like are waking up to what were your needs and what did you want out of this relationship? How did you kind of like want to land out of it? This could be like that. It's kind of like really telling me that you are actually breaking this down. Mind you, this always goes sort of like two ways. It's kind of like a street rather than individual that I'm targeting, because again, it's not a private reading. But this would be the card of marriage. This card would be of, hey, where do I want to go? And this would be the card of choice and choosing something, family, etc. But it, in the combination, these two cards, as you can tell, look, very similar, right? Except here they actually do have horns, and here they actually are chained to that door, to that darkness, thinking they're actually having it made. Somebody else is pulling strings and kind of like stoking those fires, where here you still need to resist something, some kind of temptation. It's kind of like the question of, hey, what kind of God and what kind of guide you have. Now, I have a feeling that you, Pisces, have been dealing with some other issues, and it was like not only the issues you had with this partner, but it was like actually much more. There was inability or unwillingness to face the truth. Some of you are really feeling, oh my gosh, I can't live without this person. I cannot breathe one more moment. Like you're feeling that heavy tension, almost like if you're a non-smoker and you walk in a room full of smokers, it's like you feel like you're choking. Kind of like that's kind of like how the devil reversed feels. At times, it's very high pressure, and it's almost like a conflict to your personality and conflict to how you generally are. Now, it is kind of interesting here though that they are kind of like turning out as if, oh well, look, you know, I can choose you, no problem. To some extent, they actually have a healthier approach to this relationship that you do, because this relationship that you are inquiring about was about testing your limits. It was testing what is wrong, what is right. It was like testing you if you can actually draw the line in the sand and how to do it. And on the karmic level, you actually had to start seeing things. Look at this. Both karma and what kind of like needs to be helped are in the air, in swords, right? So it has to be something that you need to think through it. You have been going with this relationship sort of like through the feeling, through the instinct. But this is telling you, you need to see something. This is generally the card that talks about our own fears, our own inability to face them. When it reverses, it's saying, look, it's actually going to start being better. Just like here, I started seeing the light coming through. You will start asking the right questions. Not like what you did yesterday, but why am I with you? Kind of like questions that matter to you, not questions that are coincidental or accidental. You know, people always kind of like determine the success of their life by finding a relationship. So instead of like you being happy here where you are, you're looking somewhere outside of you for those kind of like things. This is kind of good. There is going to be some kind of sun that shines. It could be that some of you are going through divorce and you're kind of like wondering about child support. You're wondering about children in general. As far as child support, it could look like that somebody is playing games, but children seems to like will be balanced, will kind of like will move ahead. And that is you again. Again, you're coming out of this darkness. You really had a set of beliefs, and now you're waking up from a dream. You maybe have been jealous, not realizing that there was nothing to be jealous of. And like, oh my gosh, look at this. This is almost like duplication, what I'm seeing over here. I'll just put them all to see a little bit more of a road ahead of me. Now, It is kind of really interesting because King of Swords can represent a judge. So for those of you who are in the process of divorce, and I see that for some of you, it might feel very unjust, and you are feeling that the entire process is stacked against you. You feel wronged by this person, by the universe, by God, like by everybody in the process. You literally kind of like are holding tight to those beliefs. The truth is telling you, like, really, you have to face it. This is again telling me there is kind of avoidance of problems, and I get it. I do get it. Like, it is hard. It's like, you know, you want to lose weight and you know that you need to exercise, but it is hard. But you need to do hard in order to get there, right? And I can see that this is hard for you. I can see that there is like this essence of giving up. Almost like, to some extent, you don't want to give up because you feel, hey, if I give up, then, you know, he or she is no longer in my life. So this is somehow giving you at least a feeling, hey, you know what, as long as I'm doing this, I am kind of like connected with you. And I kind of like feel still this presence, but that's kind of like this energy. That's the energy where, you know, you pull this way, they pull that way. And it's going to be lots of that in July for you. I'm not going to lie to you. Now, the more you try, the less you're getting there, because this person maybe somewhere in the past had this kind of like, oh, okay, sure, let's try it, but you felt it was maybe too meek, or it didn't reach your intensity, because this is the intensity. This kind of like love is not this intense. Most people that come to me for reading kind of like have this, oh, you know, he's my twin flame, he's my soulmate. Most of the time it isn't. Most of the time it's this kind of like presence of this intensity where we kind of feel that way. It's literally almost like you are under some kind of like narcotic, right? And you have these hallucinations, because this is something that is actually reverting back to us, that we need to look inside. And it keeps telling me, not only in one card, but in a whole set. It looks like this person is kind of giving up. This person kind of, you know, wants to maybe move forward, but then wants to go back. He is seeing, or she is seeing you as a problem of possibly building things up. I think it could be jealousy. They could see you as overly demanding, overly kind of like pushing the pressure, and for some reason they cannot take it. So hence, something that has been kind of like starting to move forward is actually going backwards. So it almost like looks like it's a self-defeating to some kind of like extent over here. Six, six, and six, and six. Yeah, you know what, like the more you push it, the worse it's going to get. Because look, it was a little bit confusing here to me, and that's why I really wanted to see one more line, because there is an extra person over here. But I really think this kind of like more or less represents that something needs to be equalized, and something is not equal. And even though you're feeling that you need it, it's the truth is like you don't need it, right? So if you are 400 pounds and, oh, I need food to survive. No, you have actually lots of food that will sustain you. It is just that sense of panic that really kicks in. And you have this sense of panic, right, on kind of like even thinking lots of thoughts about this person over here. You see, here is telling you, literally, you need to move on. You need to move on. This is the bridge over troubled waters. You see, the sixes are the highest and the lowest, and the six is telling you, hey, in this relationship, the problems that you think that you have with this person are actually your problems. They are your baggage. You kind of like walk around with the baggage, and then you find a person, and maybe you sometimes even chase away this person. And this actually could have happened over here, because this person is actually at this stage saying, look, you know, there was like a lots of juggling over here. I have offered you what I thought I could offer you here, a love, and maybe in a very subtle way. And if it's not good for you, well, that's too kind of like bad. And then here the World card is saying, hey, you know what, you know, you see this infinity, we see it here hidden just like in this card, and it's basically saying, otherwise it would be a really good card. It would say, hey, karma accomplished, you're moving forward, like next stage. But this is falling in a category where it needs to be glued, like you are kind of insisting on a sense of justice and sense that you are doing the right thing and I'm always there for everybody. It's not, it's kind of like how we want it to work, but it's not how it works. Just because you give 2 cookies to someone, you're expecting that you're going to get 2 back. It's not how it works. Karma is just a long process, and this life is just like tiny little slice. So what you do now might not even manifest in this life at all. It might be somewhere else, and that's why they are talking about paying it forward, because you know it's going to be your turn eventually, kind of like how this shifts. Because you see here, give and take. It is really telling you that kind of sometimes when you give too much, you're also saying, I don't need it. I just don't need it. I'm fine. I'm just can give and give and give. And karma goes, okay, fine. That's easy. And then you complain, well, I'm not getting it, because this kind of like thing has to be established over here. Like, I mean, this is kind of like absolutely calling you to understand that that can be controlling, that you're controlling somebody else with giving, or they feel controlled with that giving. So you have noticed that usually the women or men who are the biggest martyrs, who will do anything, who would be like, you know, kissing somebody's, you know, pad they walk on, then these people are going to be the most neglected, and there is a reason for it, because relationships are not supposed to have that kind of imbalance. And it is time to stop obsessing about it. Look at this, you have these 9s. It's time to start moving. This is like, good news is that this is like final phase. You have like 4 9s as well. Final phase of something that has been lingering, and you think the problem is this person and that's why you're so unhappy. No, but the problem is like something deeper, some psychological issues, and it's asking you to kind of start rebuilding yourself, literally, kind of like even small things. Look at your career, look at things that are working in your life, look at the things that you can actually start moving forward, right? This is really good, but it's asking you for time and space that you need to kind of surrender to the experience, not to effectively wish it, because you keep wishing it and it keeps on happening, and you're getting a bigger and bigger and bigger anxiety over the outcome, and it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger if you continue in this direction. You have an option, which is not dark anymore. Now it's light, right? It's, you actually have, it almost looks like in your own hands, by realizing that you are spiraling down, that you have created quite a bit of the discord here, with maybe even something that intentions were like in a good place. The truth is, there is like, yes, there is always negotiation in a relationship, but there is like always kind of like push and pull kind of a thing. So at this stage, you need to kind of pull that energy just toward yourself, and not even point finger or anything. Just simply try to find good, try to find nice, even in the person who maybe did something to you, because it looks like this kind of like was going both ways. Guys, I'm pretty sure you're going to be telling me this in the comments, but I'm just telling you the way I see it. It's like preponderance of the 6s, right? 6, 6, 6, 6. I think it was one more. 6, 6, 6, and 6, right? So 4 of them, and then you have 4 9, 1, 2, 3, and 4 9s. So this is kind of like really giving you the circular energy. And guess what? Like, I mean, 2 6s, one next to another, also kind of like talk about Piscean energy, not Piscean, Cancer energy as well. And that's kind of like really interesting, kind of like, no, is it Pisces? Yeah, the two fishes chasing its tail kind of a thing. So do you want to go forward? Do you want to go backward? You're going to want to forward, or you want to go backward? And like being stuck in the situation, it's kind of like continuing this rotation. So guys, you have the power to stop it. If you don't stop it, it's not going to be good. So what are you going to do, Pisces? It's kind of like a big question. Guys, again, general reading, not all the messages are just directed at you. You can check me out for a private reading, and you can also in the meantime follow me on my Facebook or on my Instagram, and then you're kind of getting daily tarot as well. And next week I'm doing twin flames. And if you're still here after all my little speech, like you see this button over here, just please click subscribe and you'll be invited to my live readings. Until the next time, I love you, Pisces. All the best.